Hey guys, TrueGreen7 here, and I've definitely noticed how there are a bunch of Pokemon that have misunderstood typings. Well, enough to make a top 10 anyways, cause the Pokemon I collected for this video have either unjustifiably been deemed as mistyped, inexcusably been claimed to be missing a type, or just wrongfully accused of being bad. Most of the entries are here because people think they should be another type, while some entries are constantly believed to need an additional type. Some people just don't understand the origin and designs of these Pokemon, so I'm gonna explain them today. Now let's begin with Number 10. Comfey. This Posiepicker has some pretty little flowers on its tail, making it look like a traditional Hawaiian lei, or an Ouroboros, but we've discussed alchemy enough in the past months. So many people are surprised that this speedy wall isn't a grass type. Is this Florges all over again? Well, as you can tell by my earlier reference, this puny Pokemon persistently picks pretty posies. These flowers aren't actually part of its body, so why should it be classified as a grass type? My shirt's made of cotton, am I a plant now? Call me a flower, I dare ya. You get the point. This thing just enjoys looking beautiful. Don't ruin its fun. Let Comfey be. By the way, are we gonna brush off the fact that I got some pretty dank alliteration going on before? Number 9. Kartana. Now this Pokemon can be misunderstood if you don't know what the hell it is. Most Ultra Beasts look like they're made of materials that animals on Earth wouldn't be made of. They're supposed to be interdimensional and therefore don't follow the biological rules of our Earth. Now when you look at Kartana, what do you see? Who cares what you see? Just read its name! Kartana. It comes from Karta and Katana. It's a paper sword. This is paper, definitely inspired by origami. It's hard to think that any living being can be this thin, but only an Ultra Beast can literally be made of just paper and metal, therefore being a grass and steel type. And just in case a 4-year-old is watching this video, did you know paper is made from trees? Number 8. Luxray. I know I want Luxray to be a dark type, only because that's super cool, you know? Dark is edgy and cool. You see, other than its color scheme, nothing justified my childish assumption that this Pokemon was a dark type, back when I first encountered one at age 10, but now as an intelligent adult. I know that dark type is the evil type in Japan. All dark types except for Absol, really, are mean-spirited and malevolent. There is no indication that this Pokemon is malicious. I mean, all cats are evil deep inside, but Luxray isn't. In fact, I kinda see him as a protector and scouter. It doesn't want to harm anybody, so its pure electric typing makes perfect sense. If anything, this Pokemon represents light, the opposite of darkness. Just in case you didn't know that. Number 7. Jinx. This thing has a long history of being misunderstood. Its origin was so misunderstood that Americans mistook its black face as racist, and its design was changed from black to purple, which admittedly does make it look more frostbitten, which may have been the original intention after all. People justify its design as being based on the Genguro fashion trend from mid-90s Japan. A version of this trend was called Yamamba, since it resembles the dark face of a Japanese monster also called Yamamba, or Yamauba. This monster was a mountain witch, who according to some tales wore red rags that touched the ground, had power over wind and snow like the Yuki Onna, or Snow Woman, a partial inspiration for Jinx and the complete inspiration for Frostlass, and was able to lure travelers with her dancing. These can all be said about Jinx as well, leading us to believe that her origin definitely explains why Game Freak gave her the Ice and Psychic type. Number 6. Alolan Dugtrio. Misunderstood types usually come from a misunderstood design and origin. Why did Game Freak decide to put a blonde wig on a Dugtrio and call it an Alolan variant? And why is it a steel type now? Cause last time I checked, hair wasn't made of steel. Or is it? Wait, nah, it's not. But Dugtrio's hair is actually based on a form of Hawaiian volcanic glass, also known as Pele's hair. Alolans actually believe that keeping any of Dugtrio's fallen hair will bring bad luck. A very similar superstition exists in Hawaii, so Alolan Dugtrio is actually really well researched, and its protective hair is made of steel fibers. You can see it sprouting on Alolan Diglett's head. Oh my god, so cute! Number 5. Execute. This Pokemon is a grass psychic type. It's a psychic type because it has psychic powers, so that makes total sense. But why would eggs be grass types? Unless, oh wait a minute, these aren't actually eggs but rather seeds. How do you like that entire comment section of my Pokemon misconception video? The biology of this Pokemon is highly controversial because although they're named after eggs, look like eggs, and are classified as the egg Pokemon, a lot of evidence points to the fact that they are plant-like. Well, first, they turn into a tree. That's a thing seeds do, and unfortunately there aren't any egg trees in existence. Second, in every Kanto Pokedex, it clearly goes out of its way to state that these eggs are in fact closer to seeds. The first Pokedex entry to refer to Execute as eggs is the Hoenn Pokedex, but of course they they would call these Pokemon eggs because Execute are not native to Hoenn. The scientists of Kanto and even Alola would actually be able to get all close and personal with these cuties and analyze them, discovering the fact that they aren't eggs. But then you may ask why they clearly have yolks. Well, the Pokedex entry actually never refers to them as yolks, just content. And there's probably a reason for that. They're not yolks. But ultimately, when the Pokedex entry refers to these Pokemon as eggs, it's just saying it colloquially. They're not scientifically stating that these aren't seeds. Just like how in normal conversation, it's perfectly fine to call orcas killer whales, while in scientific discussion, we would acknowledge the fact that they're dolphins. A better example would be a starfish. This ain't no fish. Another example in the Pokemon world would be Vanillite. It looks like ice cream, but it isn't. It's made of ice and snow, not mammal juice. So when the Pokedex says that these are eggs, it's just calling them by what they're referred to. But in some Dex entries, it just reminds us by saying, hey, you know how we call these things eggs? Just know that they're actually more like seeds. So the grass typing is entirely appropriate. This Pokemon could even be a pun based on eggplants. That's pretty funny. Number 4. Solgaleo. Boy, when this thing was revealed, we all thought it was gonna be a fire type. Wow, I sound like an old man.
Back in my day, anything associated with the sun could shoot fire out of its mouth. Nowadays, the so-called Pokemon of the sun is a psychic steel type.
But Grandpa, you can just give Solgaleo the TM for flamethrower.
I don't want none of your TMs.
You see, when this intergalactic line's type was revealed, I was stunned. But then it all came together, so to speak, when Full Metal Body was in plain view. Alchemy! Alchemy is always the answer, said no one in the last century until this Pokemon was revealed. During the summer, all the alchemical themes in Sun and Moon and even X and Y began to unravel, and we finally understood how this Pokemon was based on the sun devouring the lion motif, making it the emissary of the sun and not the personification of it. The alchemical lion and sun represents the purification of metals, and to top it all off, Solgaleo is made of metal. Now the steel type doesn't seem too weird. Number 3. Nihilego, or Nihilego. Nobody. Until further notice, it could be either. This nihilistic jellyfish from another dimension is often mistyped by fans. First, because it's a new Pokemon. Second, because it's an Ultra Beast, and they're all hard to pin down at first glance. And third, because they're all fooled by its jellyfish design into thinking that this thing was a water type. Who even said that there's water in Ultra Space? I'm sure Buzzswole isn't sucking water, cause then we'd all be as swole as him. But in order to understand Nihilego's rock and poison typing, all you need to know is that this Pokemon secretes neurotoxins that release the inhibitions of its victims. Just look at Lusamine. That definitely looks like a person who's under the influence of an interdimensional poison. And this Ultra Beast's body is made of glass. And no, we don't get glass from the Glass Fairy. No, we get it from the Rock Fairy. You see, glass is basically superheated sand. Sand is little baby rocks. Don't ask me where baby rocks come from, cause you're too young to know. We'll wait till you're older. Number 2. Pinecone. How many videos do I have to make in order for everyone to understand that Pinecone isn't a pinecone? If it was a pinecone, yeah, a grass typing would make sense. But the fact that this little dude is a bug type and is called the Bagworm Pokemon kinda indicates that this thing is a freaking worm! The Bagworm is known for disguising itself in a pinecone-like cocoon in order to hide from predators. This is literally what Burmy does. And you don't see people complaining about that, even though, oh my god, it's also known as the Bagworm Pokemon. Just stop expecting this thing to be a grass type. This is why it constantly explodes. Pinecone has been driven suicidal by the expectations of ignorant fans. And number 1 goes to Laurentius. This is like Sudowoodo all over again, except for some reason everybody understands that Sudowoodo is actually a rock type. I'm sure we're all guilty of thinking that Laurentius was a bug type way back when it was revealed. But now that Sun and Moon have been out for a while, its typing has to be finally understood. It's a pure grass type. Why? Well, first, its pre-evolution is called Faux Mantis. Faux is French for fake. This thing is not actually a mantis, and this holds true for its evolution. They're both based off of the orchid mantis. Except that unlike the real-world bug which disguises itself as a flower, this thing's a flower that disguises itself as a bug. It's pretty clever if you think about it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed or learned something new, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. I urge you to follow me on Twitter and Facebook, cause a lot of questions you guys ask have been answered in tweets and posts I made on social media. And if you want to check out more of my stuff, just click on a video right here. I'll see you guys very soon.